Hello, and welcome to San Lando Soundwaves. I'm Jeff Kotkin, and this is week 15, day 74. Today our reading comes from Numbers chapter 21, verses 4 through 9, from the New International Version translation of the Bible. And today's scripture. They traveled from Mount Hor along the route to the Red Sea to go around Edom. But the people grew impatient on their way. They spoke against God and against Moses and said, "Why have you brought us out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? There is no bread, there is no water, and we detest this miserable food." Then the Lord sent venomous snakes among them. They bit the people, and many Israelites died. The people came to Moses and said, "We sinned when we spoke against the Lord and against you. Pray that the Lord will take the snakes away from us." So Moses prayed for the people. The Lord said to Moses, "Make a snake and put it up on a pole. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live." So Moses made a bronze snake and put it up on a pole. Then when anyone was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake, they lived. Now let's consider our 7 arrows or 7 questions that have been used to study the passages that we read each day. You may want to pause the podcast after each one to have time to reflect on each question. Question number 1. What does this passage say? Question number 2. What did this passage mean to its original audience? Question number 3. What does this passage tell us about God? Question number 4. What does this passage tell us about humanity? Question number 5. What does this passage demand of me? Question number 6. How does this passage change the way I relate to people? And finally, question number 7. What does this passage prompt me to pray to God? Now, let's look at the brief devotional about this passage on page 90 of our book, 7 Arrows. The rampant sin of the people was met time and again with God's judgment. This time, he judged the people by sending serpents, which would bite and kill many. The death of the people at the teeth of the serpents was an eerie reminder of the death of their first parents, Adam and Eve. Once again, God provided a way of escape. Moses constructed an image of a serpent and lifted it up on a pole in the midst of the people. Those who looked to the bronze serpent would live, and those who did not would die. This is not exactly the way you'd expect God to heal someone from a snake bite. No medicine, no doctors. The people were simply trusting in faith, the God-appointed way of salvation. The only way to be spared from death was to follow the plan God created, no matter how extraordinarily strange it seemed. I want to thank you very much for joining us today and hope you'll tune in tomorrow.